G'day everybody. I'm a little overdue sharing these kind of videos, so forgive me as I start to build up a little library of Wingfoil sessions at my local spots. This one's a few months old, so forgive me if my recollection is a little bit vague at times. But here's inland little spot here in South Australia. Boggy Lake, yep, Boggy Lake is its name. It's a very well long established water sport spots that's been well used for many decades. And some of the legends who picked up windsurfing in the 80s are still down there on a regular basis, which is wonderful to see. Myself and some of my friends are more recently into wingfoiling, and this is a session one late summer afternoon. The wind hadn't quite filled in on a southwesterly sea breeze, but was starting to, so a few of us opted for bigger gear, and I started on my Sonovo downwind board. Can't remember what axis foil I got on, and I'm guessing that's a 5.5 hand wing north mode. And yeah, I'll give you a little bit of a ride along commentary. What you can see happening now is what everybody has to do who has a foil and a mast here at Boggy Lake, is walk in, and depending on the water depth, that can be anything from 50 odd meters plus, and this is suggestive that the lake's a little shallower than perhaps we would have liked, having not had any rain in South Australia for many months. So myself and my foiling buddies have a little bit of a walk to get into depth which accommodates our masts. I run a 90 centimeter mast for no good reason other than I thought it would make life easier when I was starting to learn, and yeah, I think that's been the case. On this particular occasion, rather than doing some swanky editing, which I'm just learning how to do, so please bear with me as I aim to get better and make some of these videos more interesting for everybody, I just thought I'd leave it running so you can see that it can be, you know, a few minutes pushing through the water to get to a launch ready depth. Seems probably like hard work for people who sail down on the coast or have access to deeper water, but it's worth it. It's a great spot. It's very well attended by predominantly windsurfers, now a healthy community of wingfoilers of all ages really, and a few kiters join us from time to time. And yeah, it's a great community. The lake's pretty vast, so there's plenty of room for everybody to share and avoid each other. The speed windsurfers are pretty great at looking out for the foilers, and the foilers are pretty good at not running into each other most of the time. So he can see now I've made the decision that I think I'm at launch depth, which is for me about half chest height, and then I'm going to give it a red hot go and see how we go. This could be a warts and all session, I can't remember, but I'll keep checking in and tell you what I think's happening. here's my first correction. I think I'm on my 4.8 North Mode Pro. I can't remember, that seems strange, because if it's 4.8 weather I probably should have been on my smaller board. I probably was either a bit impatient or wasn't sure whether it was going to pick up or not. But anyway, this is the combination I opted for. Much bigger board, pretty good size hand wing, and I'm not sure what axis front foil I'm on. Maybe that will be revealed on the many times it flies up in the air by accident, but we'll see. Well, I'm not entirely sure why I'm riding so low today. I mean, I'm oblivious to that when I'm on the board, but it looks like I've barely left the surface, case in point. So sometimes, for me personally, with the bigger downwind boards, the balance point is really critical, and sometimes, this might sound silly, a little variable, even if I've got the mast in the same spot, because that is me riding much lower on the mast than I would have ever guessed on this particular session. I think I'm starting to get some memories coming back that this was a session of two halves. One where I started on the downwind board, which we can see now, and then I transitioned onto a shorter board because the conditions became favourable. I do seem to think that the first part, which we're watching now, is I did make a bit of a meal of it for some reason, which I'm not entirely sure why. Off day, hastily put together equipment, who knows. But yeah, sometimes on the bigger downwind boards they feel massive, and sometimes they feel quite nimble. That was me not making a jibe, obviously. Not sure what happened there, but that could have just been mast being in the wrong position or me having a bit of a shocker, which isn't as rare as I would like. But anyway, let's see how we go. One thing I would say about the downwind boards and that additional volume, I think this board's about 130 litres or 128 litres, competing against my 90 kilos dry. They're beautifully quick to get going again after you've had an off, which is nice. Now, clearly I'm fighting that board at this point, which is going to get old very quickly, as I remember, and I've just not got my feet in the right position for where I put the foil. I should be further forward, but as I remember on my board, it doesn't like you being too further forward, or it sinks. It's got a pretty narrow, a nice balance point, but you've got to be right on it. This looks like a promising start. Yeah, I'm still fighting it though. I'm not loving it. Lots going on, but I'm on a pretty fastish foil, I think, so that might be one of my Axis Art V2s. I'm not sure, but anyway, I think I'm fighting it today. I'm not particularly locked in and looking comfortable at this point. Spoke too soon. Looking a little bit better there. Great conditions though. Nice warm weather. I probably could have got away with a much smaller wetsuit. But I do like to have my shins and lower limbs protected. Quite a few little nicks from the fins, front and back. Fins this season. So a bit of a fan of the longer leg wetsuit. And also because my jibe and turning count is still increasing, still spending plenty of time on my knees on the deck of the boards getting ready to relaunch after an off. Some interesting editing there, the old Insta360. And again, I've no idea why I'm riding this board so low, or rather the mast so low in the water. Again, making a bit of a meal of it today. Oh yeah, there's that one jibe I got, I think. Oh, I'm much better at my jibes recently. Again, that was thanks to the camera giving me some feedback and some great pointers from some friends, but yeah, not sure what happened there. Oh, another jibe there. I'm clearly on fire now. Yeah, not a big fan of the old toe side riding. I haven't been able to get that locked in as some as my Wingfoiling friends have. They prefer to stay toe side. Yeah, I'm not that much of a fan because that often happens. Need to keep working on the foot switches, I think. This is me heading back in. I have a recollection, I think this resulted in a board change and then maybe another hour of screaming round Boggy Lake with my mates, and of course getting all those jibes. But great fun, enjoying it immensely. It's a fantastic spot, fantastic friends and people join us here on a regular basis. More and more people are coming up from the coast when there's not a great deal of wind down there. It's great to see, great community, and yeah, hopefully I can bring some more videos of interest. If you're still here, thank you. If you're not, no worries. Catch you later.